This weekend, there are a bunch of games I'm really excited to watch in the NFL. NFL Week 2. The number one game I can't wait to watch is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at New Orleans. It's Jameis Winston against his old team, Tampa. They replaced Jameis with Tom Brady, which you couldn't blame them. They won a Super Bowl. Jameis had 30 interceptions the year before. But last year when Tampa played New Orleans and Jameis Winston, Jameis, coincidentally, after giving away the playbook to his new team about his former team, he tore his ACL. So he got hurt last year playing against his former team. New Orleans is loaded this year. Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, a good defense, a good offensive line. I mean, talent everywhere. And Jameis is, I don't know if you ever watched Jameis Winston talk. He's absolutely hilarious to listen to. It's like such a weird, all over the place, chaotic interview anytime he talks to a microphone. And in recent years, Tampa has been dominated by New Orleans, even in the Tom Brady era. So this is going to be a really interesting matchup. And I find myself, even as a Tom Brady fan, very much rooting for Jameis to beat his former team. And I talked a lot this offseason about how I want to see Jameis Winston, with his second opportunity to be a franchise quarterback, really grab the opportunity by the horns and succeed and do well. So I am rooting for Jameis in this game, Week 2. Game number 2. Commanders at Lions. I believe Washington wins this game. But a 2-0 start would be outstanding for the Commanders, who've got a new team name, a new quarterback, Carson Wentz. They're really trying to win. And I'm not really sure who to root for in this game. I find Washington interesting. I want Carson to prove himself. But I love Dan Campbell in Detroit. I'm rooting for him to succeed, and I really don't want to see Detroit start 0-2. So my heart is so torn here. I'm not a fan of either team, and I just don't know what I want to see happen. I'm hoping it's good, and I want a close, fun game between Washington and Detroit. Number 3, here's a weird one. Carolina at the New York Giants. The Giants are coming off of an awesome Week 1 win over Tennessee. I think the pressure's off a little bit of the New York. They won their first game. It was fun. It was an exciting moment. Saquon Barkley was incredible. Daniel Jones did well enough to win. Carolina lost Week 1. And you've got two quarterbacks trying to prove themselves, Baker Mayfield and Daniel Jones, and Matt Rule, a coach in Carolina who is frankly on the hot seat and at risk of losing his job. Brian Daboll is safe, and I just know this, a 2-0 start for the Giants with Brian Daboll, their new head coach, would be incredible. I don't know what's going to happen here, but it's like a science experiment. Keep your eye on Carolina at New York against the Giants. Game number 4, Dolphins at Ravens. I do not like what Baltimore have in the receiving room. Their weapons receiving do not impress me. I worry about their passing game. And specifically, this matchup is really bad for Baltimore because Miami has a really talented group of secondary players, and I think Miami's going to shut down the Ravens' passing game. Now, that may not matter because Lamar Jackson might run all over Miami. I don't know what's going to happen here. How is Tua Tagovailoa going to play? Game number 2, I thought he played decent against the Patriots. I'm frankly not that impressed by Tua so far this year. He's good. I watched Ryan Tannehill play, and I was like, you know what? Ryan Tannehill might be better than Tua. There's a lot of quarterbacks around the NFL where I go, you know, if you put Daniel Jones in Miami with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, might be better than Tua. So I love Tua as a person. I'm very skeptical of Tua. And in a game where you've got a mismatch, your defense, their strength against the weakness of the Ravens, their passing game, I think big questions are going to be answered in this game. But how is Tua going to play? That's really going to matter, I think, this weekend. And I would love to see the Dolphins go 2-0. But I also, Lamar Jackson, man, he finds a way. And despite being outmatched against a better secondary with a weak receiving core, Lamar Jackson terrifies me. And Tua is just not dynamic. If Tua needs to win the game, I don't know that he can. Whereas Lamar Jackson, former NFL MVP winner, if this game comes down to the wire and it's within a score and someone needs to make a play at the end, I very much believe Lamar Jackson is that guy and not Tua Tagovailoa. Game number 5, Falcons at Rams. Yeah, I'm excited to watch Marcus Mariota, Atlanta's quarterback. He's awesome. He's from Hawaii. I love the guy. He's fun to watch. I like Marcus Mariota's style a lot. He can run, he can throw. That should be interesting. But what I'm really interested to see here is how does LA bounce back after losing on opening night of the NFL season? They lost to the Buffalo Bills. It was a blowout. It was bad. I'm worried about Matthew Stafford's arm. Can Matthew Stafford throw? There was a clip of him saying, I can't throw the ball holding his elbow during week one. I saw it on TikTok and Instagram and everywhere. He seemed hurt week one. So what's going to happen with Matthew Stafford? Does he throw more interceptions? Can he throw the ball? I don't know. Also, the Rams' offensive line was suspect. How are they going to play? They're playing against a defensive front that's not as good as Buffalo. Is Allen Robinson, their new receiver, going to get more targets than he did week one? I would hope so. I certainly hope so. And how about Cam Akers, their running back, who was not utilized very much week one? Is he going to get more carries and more yards and going to be featured more in this game? The Rams are very interesting week two because I want to see how do they bounce back after a really rough beatdown week one against Buffalo. Game number 6, here's an interesting one. It's all about the quarterback. Seattle at the 49ers. Seattle quarterback Geno Smith looked really good week one against Denver. And I wonder, can he keep it up? Can Geno Smith keep playing with a high completion percentage and no turnovers? He wasn't 500 yards and 5 touchdowns week one, but he was safe. He was accurate. He took care of the football. Can he keep that going against the 49ers this weekend? Remember, they have a rookie left tackle and a rookie right tackle. That makes me very concerned because the 49ers have a really, really good defensive line. I think if the decline for Geno starts, it could start this weekend against a really good defensive line at San Francisco. The 49ers quarterback, Trey Lance, looked suspect week one against Chicago. Now, the weather wasn't great. There were bad conditions. So I got my attention on Trey Lance. Can he play better? But this matchup, Seattle against the 49ers, it's all about the quarterbacks, and it should be very, very fun to watch. Game number 7, Arizona at Vegas. Both teams are 0-1. You got Derek Carr, you got Kyler Murray, you got a lot of talent all over the field. I expect a high-scoring, exciting game. I don't know who's going to win. I have no idea. But if you want a fun game to watch, I think this game's going to have scoring similar to like a Big 12 game in college football. I think it's going to be all over the place and balls flying, deep balls and Kyler Murray running around and all kinds of fun stuff happening in this game. And I cannot wait to watch Arizona at Vegas this weekend. I think it's just going to be fun and high-powered offenses and a lot of scoring. In fact, if it's not, if I come back Tuesday and I'm like, yo, did you watch that boring as heck 3-0 game between Vegas and Arizona? I would be absolutely shocked. I do not see it being a defensive battle at all. And I'm really very much believing it's going to be a offensive shootout. Number 8, there are 2 Monday Night Football games. I expect Buffalo to dominate Tennessee, quite frankly. I don't really care about... I'll watch it. I'll watch anything you put in front of me. I love football. But the game I'm really excited about Monday night is game number 2, the later game, Minnesota at Philly. It's very interesting. Both teams are 1-0. Got highly capable offenses. You got Kirk Cousins. You got Jalen Hurts. 2 quarterbacks that people have got a lot of questions about and doubts about. Both teams have great receivers, and I am excited. I think it's going to be fun to see what happens, and I think it's going to be a really good matchup. So Monday night, the better game is Minnesota at Philly, and I think Buffalo is going to dominate Tennessee. But hey, I've been wrong before. We'll see if I'm wrong again. Now, before I go, I've got an announcement. I am canceling. I had planned on doing a prediction series where I was going to make predictions every week. I thought I would predict games, and I tried it. It was an experiment week 1, and I got to report back. I just don't like doing it. It feels hollow. I don't know. I feel like I'm guessing. I don't know how to predict it. I don't know. I know people want predictions and people really like it. I find it very stressful and not fun. And at this point in my life, I'm making content because I enjoy it. So I'm actually going to nix the prediction series. I know it would get views. I know people want it. I apologize. Here's what I'm going to do instead. And by the way, I can't separate who I want to win from who I think will win. I just can't. My brain can't do. I can't be objective anymore and make great predictions. I used to predict, I want this team to win, but I hope this happens instead. I'm not able to do that right now. Last week I picked Carolina over Cleveland, and I picked the Jets over Baltimore. Both were kind of irrational picks, to be honest. Looking back, I'm like, yeah, that was wishful thinking. Like, those weren't well thought out, accurate picks. Those were you hoping they win, and you're rooting for them, and you let that bleed into your opinion and your prediction. So, I'm just not doing predictions. I'm more interested in the storylines than predictions, but I still, I want to comment on every game. I like doing that. So, for example, I'm really curious how Joe Burrow bounces back after throwing 4 interceptions last week. You know, Cincinnati's going to play Dallas, who has no quarterback. Dak Prescott got hurt. And I don't gamble, but I looked at how do I even say this without pimping a potential sponsor? And they're not going to be a sponsor, but there's certain sports books who say, like, if you bet $5, you're going to get this amount of money for free. I'm thinking about doing it and just betting all of the money I get for free, the house money, on this game, because I really strongly believe Cincinnati's going to obliterate Dallas this weekend. New England lost week 1 playing at Pittsburgh, and that feels like a huge game for the Patriots, where they cannot afford to lose to Pittsburgh and start 0-2. You lose to Trubisky week 2, that's a bad look. And Pittsburgh's playing with house money. I think they stole one last week from Cincinnati. So keep your eye on New England at Pittsburgh this weekend. Another big game, actually, is Colts at the Jaguars. Both teams are winless. The Colts are 0-1, one tie. The Jaguars are 0-1. The Colts went and made a move to go get quarterback Matt Ryan from Atlanta. And part of why they did it is because of how bad their quarterback last year, Carson Wentz, was on the road at the end of the year against Jacksonville. The Colts cannot afford to start the first 2 games of the year winless. To go 0-1-1 would be a tragic start to a big year for Matt Ryan and the Colts. And honestly, though, I'm not going to lie to you. I think the Jaguars might win this game. I think that they got a lot going for them, and I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting matchup, but it's a game that I feel like the Colts cannot afford to lose, where the Jaguars, they got a new coach, an 0-2 start. No one expects a lot from them, really. I think the Jaguars, though, have an opportunity to win here and really, really disappoint the Colts. And, I saw a clip. No, it wasn't a clip. It was an article. I'll react to it probably next episode. But Matt Ryan was talking about how part of why he went to Indy was he wants to win a Super Bowl. Guys, it's going to take a while for Matt Ryan to win a Super Bowl. I'm like, I think it's going to be a couple of years before they're in a Super Bowl window again. At least not this year. So, another interesting thought is, how's Denver going to play, by the way? Last week at Seattle, it was ugly, and they had a big mistake at the end. They were bad on the goal line. This week, Denver plays, they host Houston. It's Houston at Denver. I think, as far as optics go, Russell Wilson and Denver really need to beat Houston. They're playing their first home game with Russ. It's probably going to be a party, and frankly, I think there's a chance Denver wins by like 20 points here. But you cannot allow Houston to win this football game. Like, that would be an embarrassment, frankly, to have your new quarterback to start 0-2 in this division when people are talking about a Super Bowl for Denver would be such that'd be a bad look for the Denver Broncos. Finally, the Green Bay receiving core was rough last week. And right now you got Sunday you got the Bears on the road at Green Bay. I'm really, really interested to see how the Green Bay receiving core counters to last week. They got Romeo Doubs, they got Christian Watson. Remember, Christian Watson had that drop on the first play of the game. Should have been a 75-yard bomb for a touchdown. Instead, he dropped it and only got targeted once, again, the rest of the game by Aaron Rodgers. So I'm really interested to see how the Packers and Aaron play. Now, the Bears shocked me, frankly, winning week 1 over the 49ers. So suddenly I went from, if you told me 2 weeks ago that I would think the Bears had a shot to win this game, I would have laughed at you. But I'm actually like, you know what? I love Justin Fields. I'm excited to watch him. We'll see what happens. I'm really not sure. I've got a lot of doubt about the Packers, and I'm interested to see how Aaron Rodgers bounces back with a young receiving core. The Packers are a much better team on paper. But I don't know here. I'm very interested to see what happens week 2 between the Bears and the Packers. Now, I'm learning how to do preview content. I think this was kind of a messy topic. Not terrible, not great. I love commenting on every game. I want to start doing that every week. before we go in. I'm going to call this like a preview, probably NFL Week 2 preview, something like that. Predictions feel shallow and forced, and unless I feel very convicted in one, I'm not going to make predictions. For example, I very much believe Cincinnati is going to absolutely obliterate Dallas Week 2, and I feel very strongly about that. But I can't. I don't want to force myself to make predictions that I'm kind of wishy-washy on and don't really believe. I love asking questions every week. And, what's going to happen with the Patriots? What's going to happen with the Rams? What about the Packers receiving core? Is Joe Burrow going to bounce back? Like, that kind of stuff I really like. And so in the future, I'm going to combine all these ideas, and we'll do a nice tight segment where I ask questions, I comment on every game, I predict the couple winners I feel convicted in, but I'll also share the games that I'm excited for that I'm not sure who's going to win, because that's my favorite thing in football is when there's a game that I am unsure who's going to win. I'm like, this weekend out in the desert, Vegas and Arizona, got no idea. And that genuinely really, really fires me up. I can't wait for that. So, next week I'll call it Week 3 preview. I guess we'll call this week the Week 2 preview. Guys, enjoy NFL Week 2. It's going to be awesome. A lot of great football this weekend. I hope you have a blast. And I'll see you on the other side.